The Montana night was cold enough to bite straight through a wool coat, yet Elizabeth Morgan refused to move from the lonely wooden bench at Silver Creek Station. 12 hours had passed, 12 hours of trains arriving and leaving, faces coming and going, but never the one she longed for. 2 years had stretched since Garrett Quinn rode away, promising to return. Some called him a wanderer. Others said he'd never put down roots. But Ellie knew better. She clung to a single letter, its words smudged with dust and haste. "Wait for me. I'm coming home." As dawn crept across the horizon, she faced a choice: hold on to hope or accept defeat. Then came the sound of hoofbeats, steady and certain, echoing like destiny itself. And in that first light of morning, a cowboy rode in to keep a promise that would change both their lives forever. If stories like this warm your heart, you're in the right place. Stick around as we walk through a tale of love, patience, and the wild spirit of the West. Don't forget, hit that like button if you're enjoying the ride, subscribe for more heartwarming frontier stories, and share this one with a friend who loves a good cowboy romance. The station at Silver Creek was little more than a wooden platform, a stove, and a few benches, but for Elizabeth Morgan, it had become a battlefield of patience. The Montana wind howled through the gaps in the siding, cutting sharp against her cheeks, but still she sat, her gloved hands wrapped tightly around a crumpled letter. "Wait for me at Silver Creek Station. I'm coming home." Those words, scribbled in a hurried hand 2 years ago, were all that kept her from surrendering to doubt. The trains had come and gone, each one puffing out steam, carrying strangers wrapped in scarves and coats. But none carried the cowboy she longed to see. Mr. Holloway, the station master, had offered her coffee and gentle advice. "Go home, miss. Come back in the morning." But Ellie shook her head. A Morgan kept their word, and she had promised to wait. Hours passed. The clock ticked past midnight, then 1, then 2. Silver Creek slept quietly in the distance, unaware of the young woman holding a vigil. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. That Quinn boy wanted to be back. Yet beneath the weight of doubt, her heart whispered otherwise. The first streaks of dawn painted the Montana sky in shades of gold and rose. Ellie stirred awake on the hard bench, her body stiff, her hope nearly gone. A whistle echoed, sharp and long, and she bolted upright. The morning train thundered into Silver Creek, wheels screeching, steam rolling across the platform like a ghostly fog. Her pulse raced. She scanned every passenger stepping down, the young family, the businessman, the elderly couple. None were him. By the time the conductor shouted, "All aboard," her chest felt hollow, her hope snuffed like a candle in the wind. Then, hoofbeats. Slow, steady, confident. She turned, her breath catching as a lone rider appeared against the rising sun. Broad shoulders, straight posture, and that unmistakable way of sitting a horse as though born to it. Garrett Quinn. He swung down from his saddle, boots hitting the platform with a thud. His face was leaner, weathered, marked with a scar she didn't remember, but his sage-green eyes were the same. "You waited," he said, voice rougher than she recalled. Ellie nodded, her throat too tight for words. And with the sunrise crowning them in light, he whispered, "I'm here, and you're mine." Riding double on Garrett's horse, Ellie leaned into him, the warmth of his chest steady against her back. The Morgan Ranch soon came into view, its fences weathered, its pastures thinned by harsh winters. Garrett noticed, though he said little, only tightening his hold on her briefly. Waiting on the porch, Ellie's mother, Emily, looked stunned, then wary. "Elizabeth Grace Morgan, we've been worried sick," she scolded gently, though her eyes softened when Garrett removed his hat with quiet respect. "Ma'am," he said, voice firm but humble, "I keep my promises." But it wasn't Emily he had to win. From the barn strode George Morgan, pitchfork in hand, his jaw set like stone. "Quinn." The name dropped like a curse. Garrett stepped forward, extending his hand. "Sir, I came back to make good on my word. I've got land now. A herd. a future to offer. George's eyes narrowed, unmoved. You left her waiting 2 years. What's that worth? Ellie's heart clenched, but Garrett didn't flinch. It's worth everything, sir. Because I came back for her. For a long, tense moment, the only sound was the restless shifting of cattle in the pasture. And then, George didn't shake the hand. Not yet. The Morgan kitchen smelled of fresh coffee as Garrett laid out the deeds and bank drafts he carried. George studied the papers with a hard eye, his silence stretching like a taut rope. Finally he spoke, his voice edged with suspicion. Wyoming land's wild. Nothing but dust and trouble. Garrett met his gaze steadily. It's good land. Water, grazing, room for 500 head. I've built it with my own hands. And I mean for your daughter to share in it. Emily, quiet until now, asked softly, And what of children, Mr. Quinn? Is it a place for family? Garrett's answer was sure. Yes, ma'am. There's a school coming, neighbors close enough to count as kin, and a church rising by summer. George's sternness cracked, just barely. He shifted, setting the papers down. You've done more than I expected, he admitted. Days passed in uneasy truce. Garrett worked alongside George, fixing fences, speaking cattle prices, proving his grit in ways words never could. By the third evening, as stars lit the sky, George finally said the words Ellie thought she'd never hear. Maybe it's time we joined forces. Morgan and Quinn Cattle Company. It has a ring to it. The town of Silver Creek had never seen such a gathering. Wildflowers and ribbons dressed the station garden, a place that had once echoed only with Ellie's lonely waiting. Now it brimmed with laughter, music, and the hum of excitement. Ellie stood in her mother's altered wedding dress, sunlight catching on the lace as her father walked her down the aisle. Just ahead, Garrett waited, his suit simple but his eyes glowing with certainty. The preacher-ness words blurred into the background. What Ellie felt most was Garrett-ness hands holding hers warm and unshakable. When the vows were spoken, his voice rang clear. I'll love you till death do us part. She echoed him without hesitation, her heart bursting. When the kiss sealed it, cheers rose from the crowd. Even Mr. Holloway, the station master, dabbed his eyes with a handkerchief. George Morgan, once so stubborn, clasped Garrett's shoulder firmly. The past was forgiven, the future now shared. As the sun dipped low, Garrett whispered to his new bride, You waited through the night, Ellie, and now you're mine for all our days. She smiled, tears shining. I've always been yours. Their journey together had only just begun. And that's the story of Elizabeth Morgan and Garrett Quinn, a love tested by time, distance, and doubt, yet made stronger by patience and faith. Sometimes the hardest nights bring the brightest mornings. If this story touched your heart, give it a like and share it with someone who believes in love worth waiting for. And don't forget to subscribe, because out here on the frontier of stories, there are always more tales of hope, grit, and the kind of love that never lets go.